We got our hands on Samsung's latest and greatest new flagship soundbar, the HW-Q90R Dolby Atmos Soundbar. It's the successor to last year's already excellent HW-N950, and, right off the bat, we'll start with this. The N950 is a tough act to follow. So what did Samsung improve upon? Is the Q90R a worthwhile upgrade? Let's dive into this review. The new model has the same 7.1.4 channel layout, with a main speaker that sports 3 front, 2 upward, and 2 side-firing drivers. There's also a pair of wireless rear speakers with built-in upward-firing drivers. The Q90R includes an updated wireless active subwoofer that uses a rear-ported bass reflex design with built-in amplification and a side-firing 8-inch driver. It is designed to complement the main soundbar and rear speakers. The new sub has been developed to deliver more effective and accurate bass response over its predecessor, and indeed, we found this to be the case. With a booming bass, explosions and lower spectrum effect sound very immersive and room-filling. Also, we found that the bass response is much more in sync with the audio. There are 2 new features that we focused on during our tests. One is the addition of what Samsung calls adaptive sound. On paper, this mode analyzes the audio and changes the processing accordingly. It also enhances vocals in lower volumes. After taking this feature for a ride with a couple of recent 7.1.4 Dolby Atmos titles, we felt like the surround adjustments were mostly hit or miss. However, the vocal enhancement worked wonders. This is ideal when watching while someone is asleep at home and you don't want to miss any of that dialogue. The second new feature is Game Mode Pro. It's designed to make gaming audio more immersive and realistic. This feature is mainly directed at gamers and actually works pretty well for multi-channel game soundtracks, highlighting directionality and effects. Now, many people have asked us about the Harman Kardon integration on the Q90R. This integration of Samsung's bar with the Harman Kardon sound tuning is first and foremost designed to improve music playback. We tried to listen to stereo music side by side with older Samsung speakers before the Harman Kardon collaboration era, and the difference is clearly noticeable. Music playback with Harman Kardon tuning has a clear advantage with clarity and vocals. Harman Kardon has done its job in terms of tuning the soundbar to deliver a performance that would please even the most demanding music fans. The stereo imaging is impressive with clarity in the vocals and precise placement of instruments. The HW-Q90R gets a solid 8.8 out of 10 for sound quality and performance. Next is design and build quality. At first glance, the Q90R's appearance looks just like its predecessor, the HW-N950, which, as you remember, we tested, reviewed, and still enjoy using. We're pleased that Samsung kept the same solid construction. The soundbar retains the same rectangular shape and minimalist appearance with metal grills on the top, front, and sides. We still get the dark metal finishes of the edges, and yes, still only one color choice, which Samsung refers to as carbon silver, or simply put, black. Samsung made no effort to differentiate this year's appearance from last year's, so we might just have to wait for future models to get a Bose 700 or Sonos Beam-style white option. We should also mention that the Q90R is quite wide, which means it's designed for larger screen sizes of 65 inches and bigger. Actually, the entire soundbar setup in general is designed for larger rooms in general, to utilize its full soundstage potential, so just be aware of this when considering the soundbar. So, what is new with the design? Well, the wireless active subwoofer has been slightly redesigned with a clear purpose in mind, to improve last year's bass response and control. The redesigned subwoofer still uses a rear bass port, side-firing 8-inch driver, and sports a finish that matches the rest of the system. However, the dimensions, driver placement, and weight are different. For design, we gave this bar an 8.2 out of 10. This brings us to our final category, features and value. This soundbar covers almost all the bases. It boasts many of the same features found on last year's HW-N950, including the ability to decode Dolby Atmos and DTS:X. We get the usual 4K pass-through, now with HDR10 support, Bluetooth music streaming, and the standard 1 optical and 2 HDMI ports. Thankfully, the HDMI output this year includes Enhanced Audio Return Channel, or EARC, allowing lossless audio to be passed back from a compatible TV. There's Amazon Alexa voice control, but for whatever reason, Samsung still doesn't include the microphone and processing built in, so to use Alexa, you'd have to purchase a separate Echo device. If you're thinking of getting one of Samsung's latest QLED TVs, we should note that this soundbar is optimized to work seamlessly with almost all of them. This means you can enjoy plug-and-play connectivity, wired or wireless, and control both the TV and soundbar with Samsung's One Remote to adjust the audio directly from the TV menu. The price for the entire system is still on the higher end of the spectrum, but when taking a closer look at the complete setup you get, and the alternative cost of a full Atmos system, it seems to be a relatively fair deal. We gave the soundbar an 8.4 out of 10 for features and value. Before moving on to our final score and verdict, you can find out much more about all the products we mentioned here, including specs, features, and pricing. Just hop onto the description of this video below. If you have any more soundbars you'd like us to test and review, please drop us a comment below and we'll try our best to accommodate. With an average score of 8.5 out of 10, who is this soundbar really for? Well, there are quite a few noticeable improvements over last year's model that we've discussed in this review. Nothing drastic, but definitely still worthwhile. The Samsung Q90R still proves to be one of the most complete, feature-rich, and powerful soundbar systems out there for those who are looking to enjoy a full Atmos experience and have the room size, screen size, and budget sizes support it. We have a lot more comprehensive tech reviews and recommendations in our vault, and many more coming up soon, so feel free to join our family and subscribe to our channel below to get notified about future videos.